As I always said, a person who is not disciplined in their mind will always be a slave to it. And I meant every word. When I was building my path, they judged me for how I looked, for where I came from, for not fitting their mold. But I didn't react. I didn't beg. I didn't try to fit in. I trained silently. I focused relentlessly. I turned my mind into something they couldn't shake. And over time, I became someone they couldn't ignore. Not because I was loud, but because I became untouchable. That's what real fear looks like. And if you want to become that kind of man, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't seek permission, then listen closely. I'm going to show you how to build that kind of mind. 1, control your reactions, or be controlled forever. Most people don't realize how easily they're being controlled, not by some machine, not by some enemy, but by their own emotions. Every day, they walk through life, reacting to everything and everyone around them. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they shout and curse. Someone criticizes them, they feel worthless for days. Someone ignores their message, they spiral into doubt, fear, and insecurity. What does this tell you? It tells you their peace was never theirs to begin with. It was rented out to the world. And every stranger they meet has the power to destroy it with a single gesture. That's not strength. That's emotional slavery. The harsh truth is that as long as you react instantly, without awareness, you are no different from a puppet. Your strings are out in the open. And the world, especially the toxic parts of it, knows exactly how to pull them. They know which buttons to press. They know how to provoke you, distract you, and drag you down to their level. They don't even need power over you. You give it to them the moment you let your reactions control your life. But if you want to become powerful, not in the way of noise, but in the way of calm presence, you must do something rare. You must choose your response instead of reacting blindly. You must pause when others rush. You must take a breath when anger rises. You must sit still when everything inside you wants to explode. That's not weakness, that's mastery. And mastery of your reaction is one of the most frightening things you can possess because it makes you unpredictable. You see, chaos doesn't know what to do with calm. When someone yells at you expecting a fight, but you simply look back with peace, it confuses them. When someone tries to bait you, insult you, shame you, but you smile and walk away, it rattles them. Why? Because they thought they had power over you, and now they don't. And that's terrifying to people who thrive on control. Understand this. Your real strength is not measured by how hard you can hit or how loud you can shout. It's measured by how little they can shake you. When you stay centered while others fall apart, when you keep your peace while others try to throw it off balance, you gain something rare: composure. And composure isn't passive. It's not about being soft. It's the presence of deep control. It's the sign of someone who has fought their inner battles and won. So from this day forward, stop letting every situation pull you around like a leaf in the wind. Stop being the puppet in someone else's emotional game. Take your strings back. Own your reactions. Because when you do that, you don't just escape their control. You become the one writing the script. And that's what makes you powerful. 2, build your mind in silence, then speak with force. There's a reason I trained in silence. There's a reason I didn't brag about my routines, didn't post about my discipline, didn't seek applause before I was ready. Because true power is never loud. It is never desperate for attention. It doesn't need to be seen before it's complete. Instead, real strength is built in the dark, in quiet rooms, in lonely mornings, in the hours when no one is watching and no one is clapping. Most people waste their energy trying to look powerful instead of becoming powerful. They talk about their goals before they've taken a single step. They post motivational quotes they don't live by. They walk around flexing their plans, hoping someone will validate them, hoping someone will say, wow, you're going to do big things. But here's the truth. Announcing your power before it's real only makes you look weak. You want to scare people? Don't say a word. Train while they talk. Work while they watch movies. Study while they sleep. Show no signs. Let them believe you've disappeared while in reality you're sharpening your edge in silence. And when the time is right, when your skills are refined and your mind is armored, then you strike. Not with noise, not with explanation, but with results. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is the ground where power grows. It's in the silence that you understand your thoughts. It's in the silence that you confront your fears. It's in the silence that you suffer and grow without applause, without reward, and without distraction. And this is what makes you dangerous. Because while they were performing, you were transforming. And when they finally see you again, they won't recognize you. They'll feel it. In your posture, in your energy, in the weight behind your words. They'll hear it in the calm confidence in your voix no. Because you're shouting, but because you don't need to. Because everything you say now carries the force of your discipline, your sacrifices, your late nights, your failure, your rebound, your pain, your clarity, and your practice. When you speak with force, it's not about volume, it's about substance. And substance is only built through the quiet war you fight within yourself. The days you didn't quit, the hours you didn't skip, the doubts you crushed with action. So understand this. The most powerful people in the world rarely explain themselves. They don't perform for attention. They build, they wait, and then they arrive. And when they speak, just one seed echoes louder than 1,000 empty words ever could. Train your mind in silence. Discipline your body without applause. Strengthen your spirit without approval. And then, when the time comes, step forward, not with noise, but with such undeniable presence that silence itself becomes your weapon. They won't know where you came from, but they will know one thing. You didn't just show up, you arrived. 3, break the need to be liked. If you want to be powerful, truly powerful, you must break one of the most dangerous addictions in this world, the need to be liked. The need for approval is not just a weakness, it is a prison, a silent, invisible cage that keeps most people small, afraid, and predictable. And the worst part? Most don't even know they're trapped inside it. They smile when they don't want to. They agree when they should speak up. They follow the crowd, even when their soul screams no. Why? Because they don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to look difficult. They want to be accepted. But acceptance comes at a high price yourself. And if you give that up, you've already lost the war before you even began. You see, when you base your identity on what other people think of you, you give away all your power. You begin shaping your behavior around their opinions. You dress for their approval. You speak for their applause. You even silence your truth, so you don't offend their comfort. And little by little, your spirit gets smaller. You become a product of their expectations instead of the creator of your own destiny. But you weren't born to please everyone. You weren't put here to be soft enough to fit in someone else's fragile image of you. You were born to live with clarity, with principle, with fire in your chest and truth in your voice. And that means some people won't like you. That means some people will misunderstand you, dislike you, mock you, or walk away. Good. Let them. Because if your truth makes someone uncomfortable, that's not your weakness. That's your mirror showing them where they refuse to grow. Freedom begins the moment you realize you don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need their praise to move forward. You don't need their permission to speak your mind. The people who matter, those who are real, grounded, and self-aware, will respect your honesty, even when they disagree. And those who don't, let them go. You don't owe them a softened version of yourself just to be digestible. When you break free from this invisible leash, your energy changes. You no longer walk into rooms needing to be accepted. You walk in with your head high because you accept yourself. You no longer seek validation. You bring value. You no longer ask, will they like me? Instead, you ask, do I respect who I am right now? That shift, it's not just personnel, it's powerful. Because people feel it. They sense you're no longer playing the game. You're not acting, you're not pretending, you're not shrinking. And that's terrifying to the world. Because when a person no longer fears rejection, they become unpredictable. They speak honestly. They move differently. They challenge norms. They stand firm. And people who are still trapped in the cage of approval don't know how to handle that kind of freedom. So they label you. They call you arrogant, cold, unapproachable. But don't let those labels touch you. They're only the echoes of their own fear. You must walk your path, even if it means walking alone. Because the more real you become, the smaller your crowd may get, but the stronger your soul becomes. And eventually, you'll look around and realize you don't need to be liked by many when you've earned the deep respect of a few. So I'll say it clearly, if you want to build an unbreakable mind, one that others fear not because it dominates, but because it cannot be manipulated, then you must let go of your craving to be liked. Replace it with the hunger to be authentic, to be grounded, to be real. Because being liked is temporary, but being respected, that lasts forever. 4. Turn pain into discipline. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Pain is not your enemy. It's your teacher. But because it hurts, most people run from it. They avoid it. They hide behind distractions, numb it with noise, or bury it under fake smiles. They waste months, years, even their entire lives trying to escape the very thing that could have made them unshakable. But you're not here to escape. You're here to become. And you don't become anything strong without going through fire. Pain is the rawest form of truth. It exposes your weaknesses. It reveals where you've been soft, lazy, or undisciplined. It shines a bright light on your blind spots. The world doesn't show mercy, and pain is how it teaches you to survive, to adapt, to evolve. So when life hits you, when someone betrays you, when you fail publicly, when you're left out, overlooked, broken, forgotten, and waste time asking, why me? Ask instead, what is this here to teach me? Use it. When you get heartbroken and spiral, train. Channel that emotional energy into building yourself. Let every tear become fuel. Every memory that aches becomes a rep. Every regret becomes your reason to never be weak again. When you failed in sulk, study. Review where you went wrong. Learn with obsession. Attack your flaws until they surrender. Let the embarrassment drive your hunger. Let it be the force that pushes you further than anyone else is willing to go. When you're tired, don't quit. Focus. That ache in your body is not the sign to stop. It's the proof that you're stretching your limits. That's where real growth lives, not in comfort, but in resistance. You see, pain has only two paths: destruction or transformation. One destroys the weak, the other rebuilds the strong. You must choose which one you will follow. Because pain doesn't leave you the same, it either breaks you down or builds you up. And that depends entirely on what you do with it. When you treat pain as an excuse, you become a victim. But when you treat pain as a message, as a challenge, as your personal forge, you become dangerous. You become the kind of person who can walk through hell with your head held high and your eyes still focused on your mission. Discipline is not born from motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is born from decisions. And the strongest decision you can ever make is to let pain be your motivator when motivation disappears. Use your suffering to sharpen your habits. Use your losses to tighten your standards. Use your darkness to train like a man possessed not to impress others, but to redeem yourself to yourself. Because that's where strength is built. In the moments when no one is clapping, when your heart is heavy, when your back is against the wall, and you still rise, you still show up, you still put in the work. That's discipline. So whatever pain you're carrying, don't waste it. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't turn it into bitterness. Transform it into power. Let it sculpt your mindset. Let it rewrite your limits. Let it be the reason you never return to the weak version of who you used to be. Because when you turn pain into discipline, you don't just survive, you rise. And nothing is more frightening than a person who rose from fire and decided to keep walking through it without flinching. 5. Detach from the outcome, stay dangerous. Either way, there's a quiet strength in the man who doesn't care whether he wins or loses. And I don't mean he lacks ambition. I mean he's no longer owned by the result. He gives his full effort. He sharpens his skills. He prepares like a warrior. But deep inside, his peace is not tied to the trophy. His self-worth isn't hanging on applause. His identity doesn't collapse if the plan doesn't unfold perfectly. That's the kind of man the world fears, because you can't control him. Most people are secretly desperate for things to go their way. They fight not with purpose, but with fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of being seen as not good enough. That desperation shows in their body language, in their overthinking, in their hesitation, in their obsession with validation. And when life throws them a curveball, and life always does, they fall apart. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were too attached. Attachment is a silent killer. It clings to your mind and whispers, "You must get this outcome or else." It convinces you that your happiness, your peace, your success, your worth all depend on one result. And when you believe that, you become weak. You become stiff. You become easy to read, easy to break, easy to trap. Like a fighter who's afraid to lose, you stop flowing. You start surviving instead of striking. You play not to lose instead of playing to win. But if you want to walk the path of power, you must break that chain. You must free yourself from the obsession with outcomes. You must learn to play the long game. You must learn to fall in love with the process, the training, the grind, the silence, the unknown. Because when you detach from the result and focus instead on becoming, you become dangerous either way. If you win, you're focused and humble. If you lose, you're still calm and centered. Either way, you learn. Either way, you grow. Either way, you remain whole. You don't need to prove yourself, you are yourself. And that kind of self-possession terrifies people, because they don't know what to take from you to control you. You want to scare your enemies? Show them a man who gives everything but expects nothing, who can walk away from victory with the same peace as he walks through failure. That's the man who cannot be bent. That's the man who shows up to every battle not hoping to be chosen, not begging to be seen, but ready, present, and already complete. And understand, this detachment is not indifference. You still care. You still commit. You still train with intensity. But you release your soul from being imprisoned by the outcome. You fight with everything you've got, but you don't fall apart if it doesn't go your way. That's not giving up. That's inner freedom. That's composure. That's wisdom. When I entered competitions, I didn't care if the judges gave me a trophy. The moment I stepped on that stage, I had already won. I won in the training. I won in the silence. I won in the early mornings when no one was watching. And if I lost, that wasn't a failure. It was feedback. It was another lesson. Another layer of growth. Another reason to evolve. So, if you want to build a mind, they can't break, let go. Let go of your obsession with outcomes. Let go of needing the win. Let go of the fear of the loss. Just focus on doing what needs to be done. Live like a warrior who fights with no fear, not because he expects to survive, but because he's already accepted every possibility. And when you walk with that energy, calm, grounded, focused, nothing rattles you. Not loss, not success, not people's opinions. You stay steady, you stay ready, you stay dangerous. Because you no longer chase results, you command presence. 6. Master the art of stillness. Let me ask you a question. When chaos erupts around you, when emotions run wild, when people scream and panic and demand your attention, can you remain still? Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is not doing nothing. Stillness is the mark of someone who has reached a level of internal mastery so rare it frightens people. Because in a world addicted to movement, addicted to noise, addicted to stimulation and reaction, the man who can stay absolutely calm, unmoved by drama, unbothered by storms, a force no one knows how to handle. Most people are always rushing, always thinking, always talking, always reacting. They believe action equals progress. They equate movement with growth. But the truth is, not all movement is forward. Not all reaction is strength. Sometimes silence is the greatest power. Sometimes stillness is the sharpest blade. When I say master stillness, I'm not talking about sitting cross-legged in a quiet room. I'm talking about being able to slow your heartbeat in the middle of a fight. I'm talking about holding your focus when everyone around you is panicking. I'm talking about looking someone in the eye who's trying to intimidate you and not flinching, not twitching, not even blinking. Just watching, breathing, being. Because stillness is not about posture. It's about presence. It's about control. You know who's feared the most in a battlefield? Not the man who shouts. Not the man who's aggressive and loud. It's the one who's quiet. The one who moves only when he must. The one whose eyes say, I already know how this ends. That's terrifying. Because that kind of stillness only comes from one place. Total inner power. You want to develop that? Then train yourself to respond only when necessary. Don't chase every distraction. Don't jump to defend yourself at every insult. Don't argue with fools. Don't chase temporary pleasures. Sit with your emotions instead of reacting to them. Sit with your discomfort instead of trying to escape it. Learn to be unmoved, not because you don't feel, but because your feelings no longer control you. Stillness is also the key to clarity. When your mind is constantly moving, you can't hear your own wisdom. You can't see the truth in front of you because the noise in your head distorts it. But when you learn to become still, truly still, you begin to see. You begin to feel things others miss. You begin to anticipate. You begin to know. Think of water. When it is disturbed, it ripples and becomes unclear. But when it is still, it reflects perfectly. Your mind works the same way. When you are emotionally disturbed, everything feels confusing, urgent, chaotic. But when you are still, you see things as they are not through the lens of panic, but through the eye of understanding. Stillness is also what gives power to your actions. Anyone can move, but very few know when to move. When you're still, you wait, you study, you conserve your energy. You don't waste your fire. But when you strike, your movement is explosive, precise, unstoppable. That's what makes it effective. That's what makes you feared. You want to develop this? Then start practicing silence. Practice restraint. Learn to watch more than you speak. Learn to observe without judging. Learn to sit alone without needing distraction. Learn to be bored without grabbing your phone. Learn to listen without needing to reply. These are not passive habits. These are the roots of dangerous self-discipline. Because stillness is not just peace it, is presence sharpened to a knife's edge. It is your ability to stay grounded when your world spins. It is the refusal to be pulled by the chaos of others. It is your way of telling the world, you will not dictate my state. I will. Imagine this. People try to trigger you, try to provoke you. They throw words, drama, threats, and you just breathe. Watch, think, stay centered. They won't know what to do with you. They expect noise. They expect reaction. But instead they meet silence. That silence, that stillness, it speaks louder than any scream. It says, I'm in control. You're not. And that, my friend, is what makes you a weapon. So train in stillness. Sit in it. Live in it. Let it become part of your nature. Because when the storm hits sand, it always will, the one who stays calm, the one who stands still, the one who doesn't rush to defend, to fight, to panic, is the one who controls the outcome. Stillness isn't retreat. It is preparation. It is control. It is power. Master Itant, no chaos will ever own you again. 7. Make your presence felt without saying a word. There's a type of presence that can't be bought, copied, or faked. It doesn't depend on clothes, status, followers, or noise. It's not about having the loudest voice or the biggest muscles. It's about the quiet energy that surrounds you, the invisible force that walks into the room before you do. It's the presence that turns heads without effort, that shifts conversations without a single word. That presence, it comes from one place: inner mastery. Most people live their lives trying to prove something. They constantly talk about their plans. They name drop. They posture. They show off their achievements, hoping someone will notice. But the louder they get, the more desperate they appear. You can feel it in the energy behind their words. Insecurity looking for applause. They want to be respected, but they chase it with performance instead of presence. And respect, earned that way, it doesn't last. But when a person has truly built themselves in the dark, in silence, through pain, through practice, through ruthless self-discipline, they no longer need to say anything. Their body speaks. Their eyes speak. Their energy speaks. You feel it before they speak a single sentence. That's what you must become. You must become so grounded in who you are, so solid in your character, so disciplined in your habits, that your presence becomes a message that says, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here because I earned this place. You walk into the room with your shoulders relaxed, not to look cool, but because you carry no shame. Your silence isn't awkward, it's focused. Your calm is not weakness, it's warning. Because they can feel something behind your eyes, something they can't name, but it makes them sit up straight. It makes them measure their words, not out of fear of violence, but out of respect for your energy. You see, when you fought inner battles, real ones, the kind that kept you awake at night, the kind that made you question yourself, the kind that made you break and rebuild, you no longer need to announce your strength. It leaks from your being. It becomes a frequency you broadcast with your walk, your presence, your stillness. People won't know what you've been through, but they'll feel it, and they'll treat you differently because of it. This is why your energy must be sacred. This is why you don't allow yourself to move through the world in desperation. This is why you stay grounded. Because the most powerful men don't need to take space. They become the space. And in a world full of noise, distraction, and shallow performance, the person who is centered becomes unforgettable. Want to know how to become that person? It's not in your outfit. It's not in how you pose. It's in how you live. It's in how you train when no one is watching. It's in how you treat people when they have nothing to offer you. It's in the way you control your emotions in the heat of battle. It's in the stillness you bring to chaos. It's in the way you carry yourself after failure, still upright, still present, still calm. Because that kind of consistency builds something few ever touch: self-respect. And once you have true self-respect rooted in discipline, not ego, you no longer have to seek respect from others. It finds you. And the weight of that truth in your body creates a presence that no one can deny. Even those who envy you will feel it. Even those who misunderstand you will sense it. But here's the key. You don't do it to be feared. You don't cultivate presence to dominate. You do it because it is the natural result of aligning every part of your life with your values. And when you do that, when your habits match your goals, when your discipline matches your ambition, when your actions match your words, your presence becomes a signal, a quiet signal to the world that says, this one is different. This one is ready. This one can't be moved. And that is what makes you powerful. So stop wasting time trying to explain yourself to people who haven't even built themselves. Stop chasing the spotlight. Stop proving, performing, pretending. Instead, build. Build when it's lonely. Build when it hurts. Build when you're tired. Build when no one believes in you. Build so deeply that one day you walk into a room and you don't have to say a single word because your presence speaks for you. That is what true fear looks like. Not someone loud, not someone angry, not someone desperate for attention, but someone silent, centered, focused, calm, watching everything and reacting to nothing. And when they feel your energy, they'll know they're standing in front of someone who doesn't just walk in strength. They are strength. 8, train until your mind becomes a weapon. Your body can be strong, your skills can be sharp, your reflexes can be fast. But if your mind is undisciplined, if your thoughts are scattered, if your emotions are chaotic, if your focus is fragile, even all of that physical strength becomes useless under pressure, because the true battlefield is always the mind. And if you can't master that, you will break, no matter how well trained your body is. Most people go through life training everything except the one thing that controls it all, their mind. They focus on appearance, on technique, on speed, but their mind remains undisciplined, untrained, reactive, and full of noise. They panic when things go wrong. They overthink when faced with uncertainty. They fall apart under pressure, not because they weren't ready physically, but because their mind was unprepared. That's why I tell you, train your mind until it becomes your most dangerous weapon. Train it until your thoughts become precise, until your awareness becomes wide, until your emotions no longer shake your decisions. You must forge a mind that doesn't just survive pressure, but operates better under it, because that is where greatness lives, in the space where others freeze. And you move with clarity. In the moment where others get overwhelmed, and you stay calm. In the storm where others run, and you remain present, thinking clearly, breathing deeply, responding instead of reacting. So how do you build that kind of mind? It starts with discipline, not the kind that depends on motivation or moods, but the kind that shows up daily, no matter how you feel. You must train your thoughts the way a swordsman trains his blade, carefully, deliberately, over and over again. Catch the thoughts that weaken you, the stories that lie to you, the beliefs that limit you, and replace them with ones that sharpen you. Build mental routines just like physical ones. Create habits that make strength automatic. Because in high pressure moments, you won't rise to the level of your dreams, you'll fall to the level of your discipline. Then there's focus. The world will try to scatter your mind. It will throw distractions at you from every direction. You'll be tempted to chase every opportunity, respond to every opinion, worry about every outcome. But your power is found in concentration, the ability to block out the noise, to aim your energy like a laser, to sit in silence and aim your mind like a weapon. A focused mind makes you unstoppable, because while others waste time and energy on irrelevant things, you are pouring everything into one thing, and you will do it better, faster, and stronger than anyone who's divided. You must also learn mental stillness, not emptiness, stillness. The ability to remain calm even when the world shakes around you. That stillness gives you space between stimulus and response. It gives you the power to choose instead of react. And that single moment of pause is what separates those who fall from those who rise. Next comes mental endurance. A strong mind doesn't break when things go wrong. It endures. It adapts. It recalibrates. It sees failure as feedback, not final. It turns pain into purpose. It doesn't stop at the first obstacle. It says, I'll find another way. That kind of resilience isn't born, it's trained. Through repetition, through discomfort, through pushing past what your old self would have quit on. You must also make your mind your friend. Most people's minds are their enemy. Full of doubt, full of fear, full of insecurity. Their thoughts sabotage them more than any outside force ever could. But you must rewire your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself with truth and precision, with strength and vision. Your thoughts must become a shield when the world attacks, and a blade when you must move forward. And finally, your mind must be trained to align with action. Thinking alone is not enough. You must train your mind to translate vision into movement. Every strong thought must be paired with courageous behavior. Every belief must be backed by habits. Every plan must be tested under pressure. That's how you close the gap between the person you imagine and the person you actually are. When your mind reaches that level, your entire presence changes. You no longer flinch at challenges. You no longer chase comfort. You no longer fear uncertainty. Your energy becomes steady, focused, sharp. People feel it. They may not understand it, but they respect it. Because a person who has mastered their mind is a person who can't be manipulated, rattled, or destroyed. And in this world, that makes you dangerous. So stop only training your body. Stop only chasing the physical. Build the one thing that controls it all. Sharpen your mind until it slices through fear. Strengthen it until no emotion can drag you into weakness. Discipline it until it obeys you, even under stress. Make your mind so sharp, so silent, so steady, that it becomes the weapon they never see coming. Because when you master your mind, you no longer need to fight to be feared. You only need to be present. And the world will feel it. You came here thinking you needed to be stronger. You thought you needed bigger muscles, louder words, a more intimidating look. You thought becoming feared meant becoming more aggressive, more violent, more dominant. But now you understand that real fear, the kind that makes the room shift when you walk in, doesn't come from what you show. It comes from what you've built inside. You don't become their fear by screaming. You don't become their fear by showing off. You become their fear by becoming untouchable from within. You master your reactions so they can't provoke you. You build your mind in silence so your actions strike like lightning. You break the need to be liked so no one owns your peace. You turn pain into discipline so your scars become your strength. You detach from the alchemy zone. Nothing can control you. You master stillness so you remain grounded when the world panics. You embody quiet presence so your silence says more than their speeches. And you train your mind until it becomes your sharpest weapon, so no matter the battle, you're already ahead before it begins. This is how you become powerful. This is how you become feared. Not by pretending, not by posing, but by becoming. And the people who once doubted you, the ones who laughed, ignored, dismissed you, they won't know what changed. They won't be able to explain it, but they will feel it. They will feel the calm in your eyes. They will feel the weight in your silence. They will feel the storm behind your stillness. They will realize too late that the man they once overlooked now walks like a ghost with fire in his chest and nothing left to prove. So I ask you, are you ready to stop performing and start transforming? Are you ready to stop reacting and start mastering? Are you ready to stop chasing strength and become it? Because once you decide to master your mind, you won't have to scare anyone. Your presence will do it for you. Now, go. Sharpen yourself. Live with discipline. Move with clarity. Speak with purpose. And become the fear they never saw coming.